All right, we welcome back to the show Sam Machkovech from Ars Technica to break apart and, maybe reassemble a few gaming stories from the week. How's it going, Sam?
It is going very well. Just taking a break from my Overwatch addiction to say hello to all of you.
Hello, welcome to the real world. It's good to see you again. Let's see here. We have some news from Sony today, actually. Sony shed some light on upcoming upgraded PS4 machines. What do we know about this?
Well, news is putting it weirdly because this is everything we've already known, which is that a PlayStation 4.5, a PlayStation 4K is officially 100% being made. We had Andrew House, one of Sony's head gaming executives, speaking to the Financial Times, which, by the way, is just the most riveting source of video gaming hot news, but just really snuck it in about saying that, one, a new PlayStation 4 kind of system is being made, and two, it will not be anywhere near E3, which I will be at next week. There will be no sign or show of the new system. And what he didn't go into as much detail as a lot of other sites have gone with leaked documents sort of spelling out what we are to expect, saying that it's going to be 4K compatible, saying that's going to games that are going to work on the new one will work on the old one and vice versa, that if whatever PlayStation 4 branded game you buy will work on either system. They didn't say exactly what you're going to get if you buy a game for the newer system. Also said that you shouldn't expect something as cheap as the PlayStation 4. Made it clear that it would be more expensive than the current $350 price for current PlayStation 4, which is in line with the expectation that's been put out there, that this is going to be priced at a specific premium. It's going to be out there if you do want to be the soup up your living room kind of person. If you want to spend high because you have a 4K TV or because you're just desperate to have the newest tech. So I have a lot of thoughts about it. I don't know how deep we want to go before I start complaining about why I think it's a terrible idea.
Choose two amazing thoughts. I don't know as a starting point.
It's an awful idea. This is garbage, especially because they have the lead. PlayStation 4 is winning in every way humanly possible in the console war. I truly believe that someone at Sony heard that someone at Microsoft was thinking about doing an upgraded console, which Microsoft's Phil Spencer has totally hinted at. There was an event in February in California that I attended where he basically said everything but admitting that a upgraded Xbox One, an Xbox One and 0.5 kind of thing could come along. That the idea that when you buy a new phone, that it still uses your old apps, and that we should expect Xbox to sort of proceed in that way. So I think Sony had a sense that might be happening and said, well, we got to do that too. And they didn't. They don't have to do it. Microsoft has to do something because their system is weaker across the board. Is losing across the board. But this is going to create confusion. If you want to make a video game for Sony now, you now have to test two versions of your game. It's already a pain in the butt enough to optimize for a single console. Having to go to the extra grunt work and go, well, now I have to be ready for more RAM and for 4K support. And it can't be crappy on the newer system, and it can't be crappy on the old one. So we got to make everyone happy. It just sounds like a mess. I think it's dumb. I think it's stupid. How many more adjectives do you want in there? Bad idea.
But you're going to get it. But you're going to get it.
I wish you would be more open with your feelings about it, though. Let me ask you this, though. Here we've got the Oculus Rift. We've got the HTC Vive. We've enjoyed them both quite a bit. Actually, the HTC Vive a bit more. But the product that struck both Leo Laporte and myself was the PlayStation VR. The fact that you could get a low-cost, really decent VR experience that came with a library of games was very attractive. Will this rumored new console add anything to that? Will developers be able to turn on more options, or is this just the PlayStation VR will work with either and will give you the same experience on either?
I mean, the biggest thing about PlayStation VR, the reason VR enthusiasts are going to like it less is because it has a lower resolution and a lower refresh rate. The idea being it's going to be doing a fake high frame rate. The idea, you need at least 90 frames a second right up to your face to not get sick. And so PlayStation VR is going to do this by having a little internal doubling. It's going to take your 60 frames a second and it's going to smooth it out as if it feels like I've used it and it does work, and the resolution is a little smaller. So the only thing it's going to really boost is the ability to make a PlayStation VR 2 run better. It'll have more power in it, assumedly. So if they got a bigger screen, or if they supported more native frame rate of a natural 90 frames per second, as opposed to this sort of artificial 120 frames a second. It's a whole lot of gobbledygook when trying to break that down. But the bottom line is they've locked in specs for what the PlayStation VR set's going to be, which I find didn't make me sick, made me feel comfortable. The demos I played on PlayStation VR already, especially Res VR, which is a remake of a 2001 game that Sega originally released. Really impressive. Mix of good performance and no nausea for a either sit down or stand up sort of thing. It's got hand tracking as well, which Oculus still doesn't have. So whenever that comes out, they have a native opportunity to do that hand tracking stuff that I think gives the Vive the current lead. So again, that's another reason why I think this is stupid. It's just going to create confusion. People are going to look at it and go, do I need the new PlayStation to do VR? And they're going to go, no, you don't. I go, well, what's that for? I go, well, do you own a 4K TV? Well, no. Well, how it's just going to be a lot of bad, confusing messaging, and it's going to be like the Wii U, to be quite honest. And we all know how that turned out.
But if you do have a 4K TV, you want it to look as good as possible. But yeah, I guess.
And if they optimize it really well for 4K, then that may be a different conversation, and that small audience is going to freak out. But that remains to be seen. So we'll see. If my mind has changed, that'd be great. But I'm certainly not going to get to see it at E3, is what they're saying. So
would it be better just for Sony to say, look, maybe it's time we start thinking about genning the PlayStation, and we'll do the upgraded specs, or we're not even there yet?
I think that the idea of a locked-in, I like what Phil Spencer said about phones keeping on working with old hardware, but ultimately iPhones have left the original generation, the older resolution behind, and I think you need to wait a little bit longer when it comes to a gaming experience for what it's going to really offer. Are you going to do, for example, HDR support? Nobody knows if that's the case, and HDR, in my opinion, is a way more visually compelling upgrade. If you're going to get like a fancy, expensive TV, HDR really provides some interesting stuff that current consoles can't support. I don't think this is going to get there. So I think that's a bit of a, they're rushing that sort of thing. No, and people aren't really talking about HDR because they're not seeing it in the wild. But keep your ears tuned to those three letters. They really matter. They really make virtual 3D gaming content look incredible and actually pans out in a gaming sort of way. So until then, unless they really come out and say we've got HDR and all this other stuff, not yet. Soon, it's going to happen. This sort of thing is going to happen, but I think this is a little too soon for a system that's really hitting its stride.
And when they gen up, that's when they'll do the next big step. 8K, HDR, all that stuff.